Namo Ramna, Uma, can you hear me? You can hear me,
Namo
right?
Ramna. Yes, yes.
Because now I have got a device which.
Good morning, Akka.
Good morning, Aarti. How are your classes going?
Good, Akka. Good. They're going nice.
We'll wait for a couple of minutes for others to join. Aarti, I wanted to ask you something. The program எப்போ அவளுக்கு?
December 2nd or not, Chonaka. They have a screening, it seems. So first they have
December 2nd, what has happened is now I have been approached to present Rasa students. Stalin is coming. Okay, to one event. So they want some children to do a small karagam kind of dance. So I think that the Rasa kids are rehearsing for another program on 6th and one more on 18th. So I don't think they can manage this also. Confused Aiva. So I rang up Lata this morning, Lata Rajendran. And she was not available, but I spoke to Selvi, her daughter. So she says, I think mostly it should be possible with the MGR Illam kids. So if required, then you just choose 4 or 6 of them and train them up on Tuesday for half an hour.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going Tuesday. I'm going an extra day because they haven't practiced at all, actually. We started very late. Like, you know, we...
But Anna,
that depends on, you know, whether they pass the screening. Appadina. But they also said that in the final event, Stalin varvar appadinattu.
We are invited now. We don't have to win.
Yeah, true.
How God graces us.
But is it the same event? You think there's the same?
I don't know whether it's the same. But this is in Kamarajar Arangam. You can check with them.
Yeah. Check with them.
Kamarajar Arangam. And when Stalin comes, these kids will have to dance. Which is nice. Yeah,
I know. That's a great opportunity. But my only worry is...
even that dance which you're working on is enough.
Practice is not enough. That's what my worry is. Yeah, but let's hope. I mean, we are hoping to finish it this week, though. So I think should be in a better shape.
After that, we'll sit for Rasa Day. Rasa Day is on 21st February.
Okay.
So you have enough time for that. More than enough time. You'll come for Rasa Day, Uma? No, can't take leave. All leave is exhausted,
Illa, 10th board exam.
21st February,
Somewhere after 15th February it will start till 30th March.
Antaras.
Yes, Antaras.
Once you get the schedule, you let me know.
Yes.
Otherwise, you can come for half a day. You can come see the program. You have been before?
No.
You have not seen at all?
No. Even if Antara is not right, okay, this year Antara is writing the exam, I am given duty as an examiner or supervisor.
No, only on that day, supposing you're...
Yeah.
You have to check that out. Nama aaramchillama, because I have to leave at 1:30. Om Prasaya Namaha. Om Prasaya Namaha. Om Prasaya Namaha. So basically, you've been in module 2, you've been looking at psychology, you've been looking at anatomy and physiology, you've been looking at disability, you've been looking at what is rehabilitation, why is the multi-pronged approach required for a child with special needs, and how does okay, now you must have gone through all that. Why is a multi-pronged approach required for a person with special needs? Uma. Any thoughts? You don't have to see. Okay. This course is not about telling things as per the book. This course is about understanding what is required and trying to assimilate that and express it in your own way based on your understanding. So let us say this, somebody comes anew and asks you this, not Ambika Ka. Somebody comes and asks you this question: why is what does a special child need? What is an approach towards learning or development that a special child needs, and what will you give as a reply?
Okay, the fact that they are special would mean that they might not be physically or emotionally or mentally at par with a so-called regular child. So we might have to tap them from various aspects. So a different approach.
Yeah. So what is meant by multi-pronged? What does normally happen over there? In a special Aarti, your thoughts?
We might probably try to use the skills which they are better at than what they don't have.
True. But what does multi-pronged mean? Have you has any of the facilitators, like I would say the resource people, something let's say Rekha Ramachandran. Okay. Now, what did she tell you that Bubbly needed when she was young?
She needed the confidence which was given to her in a different way.
What is this? I'm hearing some more voice, no?
Probably my kids.
Oh, got
A
it.
little murmur. Is that the noise you're hearing? That's what the kids are saying.
Okay. Because I didn't hear. Wait, let me register the word. Okay. So no, she said that she did how all did they work with Bubbly? Basic confidence level she needed. All these are the basic things that she needed. But once it was recognized that she needed inputs, what are all the inputs that she got? Other than the dance which I taught her, which is what Rekha spoke lots about.
Was it about like to show her that she was good at something else?
Multi-pronged approach means they need different kinds of inputs based on their requirement, as you both said. But it is how a speech therapist has to come and give them language and communication training. A physiotherapist comes and takes care of their gross motor, fine motor skills. A special educator comes and takes care of their general understanding, comprehension, their education, and other skills. An occupational therapist comes and looks at their daily living activities. There are different kinds of inputs that a child needs in order to cope with their disability, their need, their special need. And they, of course, they have skills, all that is there. But this is what is called a multi-pronged approach. Okay. It's called a multi-pronged approach towards the development of the special children. Now, normally what happens is that the team of the special educator, physiotherapist, occupational therapist, but I thought you would have got this knowledge because everybody's been speaking about special needs. So that's why I said it's not about learning from the book, but it's about understanding and assimilating what has been taught. So Bubbly என்னெல்லாம் கொடுத்துதான் அவளுக்கு mobility training கொடுக்க ஆரம்பிச்சா, அவளுக்கு speech training கொடுக்க ஆரம்பிச்சா. She was not able to, she spoke her first word when she was much older than anybody thought that she would speak. Okay. I recently heard about a child who spoke their first word when they were 15 and they're talking non-stop now. Okay. It's like that. Okay. So the speech therapist has to come in. But we all know that Theatre Arts for Holistic Development looks at every aspect of development and approaches that, creates an individualized educational plan, which is what a special educator also does. Okay. And individualized, I think you people need a lecture on the multi-pronged approach. I'll organize it for you. Okay. So, the special educator normally puts down all the needs and then calls the physiotherapist, calls the occupational therapist, calls the speech therapist, does her own planning for what is called the individualized educational plan, IEP. Has anybody spoken to you about the IEP at all? No. Okay. It is called an individualized education plan. Now, what happens in a normal school, Uma? Do we have individual education plans for 38 children studying in the class?
No.
We don't, right?
No, it's general.
We have a whole syllabus. That's all. Okay. So whereas in a group, in a special setup, we have to have, again underline, we have to have individualized education plans for every child, because they can be clubbed into a homogeneous group, which is what we do as far as clubbing, and there'll be an overall syllabus. Okay, there'll be an overall syllabus that says that in this in this semester or in this term, we have to give them in environmental science. We have to talk about health and hygiene and cleanliness outside of home. Let's say that's part of the syllabus. We know that's the syllabus. We know that in numbers they have to start learning to read bus numbers. Let us say that will be part of the syllabus, but there will be an individual assessment done for each of the children and a lesson plan that is made which is suitable to that one small group of 8 who can take in that lesson plan in a proper manner. We will not club more than that into one group. So it's very small groups where they have receptivity to a very, very similar level. But there has to be an individualized education plan because each one is independent. Each one is separate. So you have to have their goals separately, their assessment separately, and have that in mind before you start working with the child. So today we are basically talking about, we have already discussed in the first session itself about how you approach the teaching, right? How do you approach the teaching? What are your do's and don'ts in the first session, first module itself, right? You remember that or you don't remember it? You do remember. Okay. So how do you approach the teaching? What are your do's? What are your don'ts? How do you do your observation? How do you do your assessment? How do you do your lesson plan making? You all did that, right? Your lesson plan making. How do you review? How do you go back to square one? Okay, that all that we did. Now in module 2, we're going to enhance that how. Okay, enhance that how. How do you teach? You are using theatre arts for holistic development. You have already done your observation. You've done your assessment. How have you done your assessment? You have your sheets. You had your sheets? You got your sheets or not? Assessment sheets through theatre arts in the first module.
It was given with the notes.
Yeah. So assessment in motor skills. How do you do assessment? You assess the child. Is the child able to lift his hand? Is the child able to does the child have sitting tolerance? Does the child have is able to stand independently? Is he on supportive stand? If he stands independently, is he doing supportive walking, or is he doing independent walking, or is he wheelchair bound? Everything is there in that assessment. So that assessment is your what do you call your little bit like your Vedam, one of the Vedas. Okay. So unless you do that, you won't know what to do. Okay. So you do that assessment, and once you've done that assessment, then only you can set the goals. Because then you say, okay, the child is on supportive standing, we have to try to get him to stand independently. Okay. Or if you know already that as far as his physical assessment is concerned, that he is never going to be able to stand independently, what are you going to do to make his supportive standing sustained throughout his life? Right? Because he cannot go behind. He has to go forward. So if you feel that if there is a assessment, there is a physical assessment, there is a physical thing that he will be wheelchair bound all his life, there's no problem. But you have to deal with it like that, and he has to have his muscles intact in the wheelchair. All the muscles which can work have to be made to work. Every single thing has to be made to work. Okay, that's God's plan. He makes every part of our body working, because unless it works, it will stagnate. If it stagnates, it will die. 100% it will if it stagnates, it will die. It's the same thing is about the body, same thing about the mind. It has to remain active and engaged in the role requirements at all times. Okay. So this is something which you have to remember. You can connect your soul, all that is fine. You can work from this Purana, that's also fine. But you have to work. The mind, as long as the mind exists, as an entity, as long as it is there, it needs that clear-cut definition of work, attention, focus, role play, etc. Okay, so that is there. So now you have your individualized, you have your IEPs. Let us say you've made your goals, you've made your individualized assessment education plans, and now you know that you have to use art and craft to teach this child something, or you're going to use a dance movement to teach this child something. Let's say, okay. Now there are some things which you have to keep in mind. You have to ideally you should go back to your notes of the first module also, because that's where we start. And then we go on to refining it in the second module, make it a little more refined. How do you present? What do you have to keep in mind when you teach? So this is called teaching methodology. What I'm taking today is a teaching methodology. I was hoping that everyone will come for this because it's a very, very important topic, because it's how you're going to take your learning of your becoming a facilitator forward with the children, with anybody, whoever you're teaching. And you can apply that even for yourself. All these rules you can apply even for yourself. The rules that I'm going to talk about. The first rule is there's something called behavior. Behavior, what is, I have taught you in the first module itself, what is behavior. So now one of you have to tell me, because you're leading students in this group. And the others are not there at all. So, the gulab jamun ad varadrima. You have, Mama, you have to make me gulab jamun, he'll say. Okay. Sure, why Dakana? Because I stood second in the race. Wow, you won a second prize in the race. How many people ran? Only 2. That's become the case right now. So, but it's okay. You people, I mean, because the recording is available. That's a plus and a minus. It becomes a minus for many, and it's a plus for you both, because you attended the class also, and you can have the recording also. So, Uma, I was asking something, no, for this. What is behavior? I have told you what is behavior. Yeah. Behavior, as in not in the typically psychology terms or the usual English parlance, but behavior as in special education terms.
The way of expression.
Exactly. That's it. That's it. That's behavior. Very good. Okay. So behavior is how you express yourself. That's it. So in Natya terms, we call it Abhinaya. Okay. So that is Abhinaya. So you either express yourself through your body language, or through your words, or through your costume, or through your emotive expression. These are the 4 definitions in Natya. But behavior is how you express yourself at that point in time. Yes? Not for you. Okay. So how do you express yourself? That is behavior. At that point in time, whatever you are saying, doing, expressing is behavior. Okay. So that is, so let us say, I always say, I've given you this example even in the first module. If I said, supposing that there's a child who knows 1 to 100. I've had this problem many times, and I keep on expressing this particular example because this repeats itself in our learning on a day-to-day basis, on our assessments and the way we meet parents and all that. Let me just close this door. Yeah. Okay. So if, all the time we keep seeing that the parent will come and say that my son knows 1 to 100. He knows up to 100. You know, our highest performers, super performers, Guru, Janani, Revati, everyone. But you ask them what is 5 plus 5, they'll not be able to tell you. So intellectually, they're all like, in the comprehension wise, they're all in UKG, LKG, UKG level at the most. Okay, but even nowadays, LKG, UKG children are independent in self-help, independent in vocalization, independent in oral skills. So when you look at one of our children in Rasa, you won't even feel they are special, because they will be, in every way very communicative, but they will not know. So behavior, so this what happens is, this parent will come and tell, avanukku 100 varaikum theriyumma, 100 varaikum theriyum, 5 pencil eduthu koduna 8 kodukadu. So I will tell her, amma ungalku theriyum, avanukku theriyumtu, but avanukku vandu adu செயல்முறையில காமிக்கலனாக்கா நமக்கு தெரியாது, மத்தவங்களுக்கு தெரியாது, அவனுக்கு தெரியும்னு. Okay, so the செயல்முறை is behavior, that is bringing it out, the doing it, actually expressing it is behavior. So what is the point in knowing something if you're not able to express it? And this works very well, even in that Eliza Doolittle, My Fair Lady. If you have love, show it. Expression, you have to express everything. Otherwise, that the existence of that emotion or that knowledge is not known to the world. Okay, so everything is sustained. Communication is sustained by behavior. Okay, So that is the central point. Now,
Anka,
yeah.
Excuse me for 2 minutes. I'll just put off my video. Just go give some food to my son. You can carry on. No. You can carry on. I'll be listening to you. I'll just take the laptop. It's okay, Ka. No, you carry on.
I'll be discussing something else with Uma. Don't worry.
Okay.
We have enough things to chat. So how is Antara preparing?
Okay.
No, okay. I'm sure that is only from you. She will be preparing very well. But okay. Yeah. Tension beda. They'll say, no, tension beda. But Anna, எல்லாம் பண்ணிட்டு கலணும். She's going for dance class and everything.
அது விட மாட்டா.
Good. You know, I always tell this example of Purna's public exam. It was it was 11th standard exam only, not 12th. 11th standard exam, but it was state level. They make it a public exam in 11th also here. She was in matriculation because she got the combination which she wanted. She wanted to continue ICSE, but then she didn't get the combination of computer science with maths.
Okay.
In Vidya. So basically, she moved to Sivaswami Kalalia. So and of course, she did very well. No problem there. So one day before the exam, we did Paripurna Ramana in Bangalore. Okay, Bangalore, and next morning is the exam. எனக்கு வந்து கவலையே கிடையாது. எனக்கு வந்து எக்ஸாம் நன்னா பண்ணுவா மாட்டாளாங்கிற கவலை கிடையாது. எனக்கு அது நன்னா பண்ணிடுவோன்ற ஒரு தைரியமும் இருந்தது. ஓகே, எப்படியுமே நம்ம படிக்கணும். அங்க பகவான் என்ன கொடுக்குறானோ அதுதான். ஓகே, ஸோ பட் எனக்கு என்ன கவலைனாக்கா, இப்போ ட்ரெயின் வந்து லேட்டா போச்சுன்னு எனக்கு பார்க்கலாம். எனக்கு அதுதான். I was not worried about Purna. I was more worried about the government railway. Okay, so what I did, she didn't do Tilana. She was there in the Tilana, but she didn't do Tilana, and I sent her in the train with one of my team members. Okay, so 11th standard, she was a little young. She was not traveling alone and all that. So along with one team member, I sent her back. So she did the exam. So I wanted to just tell you, Uma, that the exam that she did after Paripurna Ramana, she got 200 on 200. Okay, and she got in all the other exams, she got 196, 194, 198, and one more 5 subjects. And the மாதிரி தான் வந்தது. So 200 on 200 in the area exam தான் வந்தது. So allow her to dance one day before the exam also. If you want 200 on 200. So I keep on telling this because Bhagavan gave me this as an example to give. No, he need not even in this she could have got 196, 194, 198. That's a silly mistake. God only knows, right? But one day he made me do this. Paripurna நான் முடிச்சிட்டு வந்திருக்கா குழந்தை, நான் 200 கொடுத்துற போறேன். நிஜமா, it's documented in history now. We can't change it. It's over. So don't worry. What are the other things that she does?
If as of now, the dance pova, music, sometimes it clashes with her maths tuitions. So on the day, some days she'll go, some days she doesn't. That's all. Because she's also the CCA captain at school. Some things like that.
How is this module going?
Not as well as the first one.
You've not covered enough?
No, we have, but this was more of general, I felt. Psychology.
Yeah. It is required for you to understand that psychology, anatomy and physiology.
Anatomy, physiology, yes.
And special needs?
That
So the Rekha and one more person spoke, I think. Hearing impairment.
I liked the writing. We had to write a small booklet that I liked.
That is anatomy and physiology.
Yes.
Yeah. So that all that has been covered basically.
Yes, yes.
Now what you need to look at is the educational plans. It is the IEPs. And I told the multi-pronged approach, IEP, rehabilitation, all this, you need some little more input. I thought that was over, but then it's not happened apparently. I should enter only after that actually. My class should enter only after that, because then you'll already know all that, right? But it's okay, doesn't matter. Anyway, now I've spoken about it. So that's okay. And we'll have a class for that also. Approaches to special needs, the different approaches to special needs. Physiotherapy na enna, special education na enna, occupational therapy na enna, psychotherapy na enna, allame, speech therapy na enna. All that you need to have an idea. So one class for you to have an test.
Okay.
So how would you do lesson plans? Let me ask you only. How would you do the lesson plans in a typical TAHD session? Let me give you a goal. Okay. The goal is to identify two colors, red and green. Okay. Red and green with a movement activity.
Okay.
So I've given her the goal, identifying red and green with a movement activity. Okay, I will give you also one goal. Okay. Identifying numbers 1 to 5 with a drama activity. Take 2 minutes to think. Now, I'm waiting for that.
I could create I could use art and craft.
Art and craft, that's not the tool I've given you. I've given you movement as a tool.
Yeah, okay, but I would create I would use red and green as a traffic light, and then take children.
That is your pre-prepared property.
Okay.
It's not an art and craft activity. We have to know the difference between the two. You can use this. You can, of course, do this as an art and craft activity also. But when you are asked this goal, this tool, you say your pre-prepared. What is the material you are ready with?
Ready
with a signal light with 3 colors. Okay, that's what you have to say. You can't say I'm going to do art and craft, because that will completely put you off the track as far as the examiner is concerned, or whoever is concerned, right?
Okay.
So basically, any lesson plan, I have told you the 3 parts of writing. How do you remember it? Module 1.
There was a warm up. Then the main, materials, warm up, main activity, and a closure.
Very good. Yeah. So this warm up, main activity, and closure, that you're very clear about. Very good. That is a 3-part lesson plan. That's very clear. Okay. And that's very important for every child, anybody, any class you take. There has to be a warm up where you bring in the attention of everybody into the session, have the main session, and then you say, go ahead to your next activity. So that's very, very important. Be that as it may. Okay. Be that as it may, when you write out a lesson plan, you have to write on top the student's name, name of the student, and then you have to write age, what is the age of the chronological age of the student, and then what is his need, what is the basic need. Because what happens is, when you write all this, anybody who picks up your lesson plan will know, supposing he's got an autism spectrum, we'll know how to deal with him. You give me the lesson plan, I'll know how to handle him. Because I have worked with people with the autism spectrum. I know that he's going to have difficulty in communicating. He's going to have difficulty in making eye contact. He's going to have difficulty in this. Similarly, if you tell me that he's got cerebral palsy, I know that he's going to have motor capacity problems. So immediately I will know what the child is about. Okay. It is not to label them, but it's for the facilitator to know what the child is about. Okay. So so you just say there is this thing that he has ID, intellectual disability. Okay, adukapra chronological age potachu, intellectual disability irukku potachu, and then you're writing the goal. There are two ways in which you can write the goal. Okay, that is the general goal and specific goal.
Specific goal.
So the general goal will be environmental awareness, let's say. The specific goal will be understanding the tree just outside your house. Okay, which is the tree, which is there is தென்னை மரம் இருக்கா இல்ல ஆலமரம் இருக்கா இல்ல வந்து ஒரு சப்போட்டா மரம் இருக்கா இது என்ன வில்வ மரம் இருக்கான்றது தெரிஞ்சுக்காது. Okay, just something like that, let us say. Okay, environmental science involves all that, but the general goal, the overall goal is environmental science. It is not there, it is not numbers, it is not colors, it is not language and communication, it is not anything other than this. Okay, it's not gross motor skills. So there is a general goal, and then there is a specific goal, specific lesson plan goal for what you've taken for this particular lesson plan. Then you write out your warm up, your main theme development, and your closure. Okay, so that this whole document becomes a commonly shared one amongst all of you. All of you will be able to use it. It becomes a bank. Okay, and that bank has got it's got infinite possibilities. Okay, I'm just sharing with you something very strange. Okay, when this was about 15 years ago, we went and met one Perivar. Okay, and he was very good at Jatakam and all that. Okay, so while he said, "You want Jatakam paakatam?" I asked. I said, "Paaruga, because yarum paakala enakku Jatakam. Kalyanathu kuda paakala nanga." So adanala, so yarum Perivar ever. One second. I'll just come. 1 second. Yeah, in the class, Andy.
Your daughter is in 10th, Ma? You have one daughter, huh? Or
Yes, only one.
my son is in 9th.
Huh?
No, I was just asking her if her daughter was in 10th.
Yes, that's why I was talking to her about it. And I told her, don't worry. Purna did one dance program just one day before her exam also. 200 வாங்கினா 194 198 தான் வாங்கினா 196 தான் வாங்கினா ஆட விடு அந்தராவன்னு சொல்லிட்டு இருக்கேன் நான். Okay, so this mama, this Ramurthy Shastri, very very great person. Okay, he told me உனக்கு 56 வயசு ஆரச்சே உனக்கு வந்து 5 பேங்க் அளவுக்கு பைசா இருக்கும். 5 பேங்க் நீயே நடத்துற மாதிரி பைசா இருக்கும். 56 முடிஞ்சு இப்போ 60 போறது. ஓகே, ஒன்னும் அந்த மாதிரி பேங்க்கும் வரல, ஒன்னும் வரல. We are well to do. No, there's no problem anywhere. Okay, so immediately I thought that will be, but Kameshwar is there to earn for us to be well over here. Okay, because I am only doing honorary service. But Rasak அந்த மாதிரி வந்ததுனாக்கா சௌரியமா எல்லா ஆக்டிவிட்டிஸும் பண்ணலாமே. பட் 5 பேங்க் எல்லாம் வைக்கிறாங்க. ஆக்டிவிட்டிஸ் மீட் பண்ற அளவுக்கு பகவான் கொடுத்துட்டான். ஓகே, so I was wondering how this 5 bank is. And I am a great Nama Japam person. Okay, so I've done crores and crores of Nama Japam. Okay, so my sister told me that day I was discussing with her. She said, "Nee and bank da nee katti vechirke, indha bank kattala appadina." Okay, then I counted with her. Okay, I said, "Anna ஆனாலுமே அக்கா 7 கோடி தான் முடிச்சிருக்கேன். அது 7 கோடியில ஜீவனம் எல்லாம் பண்ண முடியாது. அத நீ வச்சானா கூட ஒரு மாசத்துக்கு வந்து ஒரு 2 லட்சம் 3 லட்சம் ரூபாய் தான் வரும். என்னால அத்தனை பேரெல்லாம் சமாளிக்க முடியாது. அதை வச்சுட்டு போராது. ஓகே, நிறைய பேர் இருக்காங்க. என் குடும்பம் பெருசு, ரொம்ப பெருசு, வச்சு சமாளிக்க முடியாது. நாம ஜபத்திலயுமே நான் வந்து இன்னும் கொஞ்சம் கோடி சேர்க்கணும்." I said, then it just struck me that I have that bank in all of you. I have so many people with me. I have so much of love, so much of engagement with me. And I said, I think probably he didn't realize what he was saying. Then 5 bank illa, எனக்கு வந்து கோடி banks இருக்கு இப்போ. I was just thinking, so why I'm telling you this is one lesson plan. I remembered it because when I said one lesson plan that you create can be shared across, right? And each intellect, each thinking intellect can contribute infinite plans in TAHD. Lesson plans it is not like English has got only one dictionary. Okay, but you can create from that dictionary infinite books with so many people. That is what TAHD here for us relevant is TAHD. Somebody else relevant is language or whatever it is, right? So the creative scope of this methodology is infinite. So when you make a lesson plan, make it clear so that, make it in a very neat manner so that it will remain in time across time. Give it to Rasa. There will be one activity bank in Rasa in which we will put it. Okay. Anybody can draw from that. We'll make a library of goals in the goal scheme, the activities. Beautiful, Arko. Okay. It'll be really lovely. So why I was telling you this is, I started saying the format of this thing. She's given me one activity. You have to give me your activity. She's giving me a signal activity. Signal activity with a movement vechi panna pora. Yeah. So the material, in that you have to say, as I said, there is the name of the student, the chronological age, whether he's got intellectual disability or autism, whatever he's got, and then you've looked at the holistic goal and the specific goal. Then once you've written the specific goal, you have to say materials needed for this session. Then only write the warm up, the main session. So materials needed for this session, she's already got her signal. So how have you made them move? I forgot to ask you that.
Red stop, green walk.
Okay, just those. Okay, red and green. Okay, let's stop green walk. Yeah. Perfect. Yours. 1 to 5 drama.
For numbers, probably I'll start with a warm-up prayer, thanking God for this lovely body that we have got. Then I would start an activity where, probably form a song which says, how many knows? 1.
That's a song. What a drama.
Yeah. Oh, drama is in with a story, you're saying, huh? Oh, okay. So in that case, probably I would picturize, the different parts of the body fighting with each other. So the nose says, I'm great. But the eyes say, you are only 1. We are 2. So I'm greater than you. Then suddenly the 3, actually I had to maybe club the cheeks and the forehead. I couldn't think of anything else. So the cheek and the forehead, they come together and say, you are just 2, we are 3 of us. And then the hands and feet come together. You are nothing, we are 4 of us. And only because of us, the body is able to move. And the fingers say, hey, we are 5. In one hand, of course, in 5. So we are greater than you. So, yeah, something like that.
How do you conclude it?
Saraswati
Sabadam மாதிரி ஆயிடுது.
Saraswati
Selvama Veeramanradha matram paathuட்டு. Then they conclude saying that everyone is important.
Yeah.
You will have to conclude saying each one is important. Each one has a role to play. We all have a role to play, Madri. Yes. They also have a role to play. Okay, super. Okay.
Yeah, probably the body says that, yes, I cannot do with anyone. I can do only with all of you present.
Saying, I need all of you.
Yes.
Super. So don't fight amongst each other.
Yeah.
I need all of you. Super. Yeah. Okay. So now there is the lesson plan. There is everything is in place from your side. Okay. So from your side, everything is ready. But then you have the child who needs to communicate through his behavior. Right? Through his behavior, he has to communicate. How will he communicate? He has got that behavior is not a standalone. This is what we are going to talk about today. The behavior is not a standalone. he will not behave similarly on every occasion. Child with special needs especially. Okay. And this is true of everybody, but somehow in a regular school setup, they manage to behave in a similar manner. They sit quietly for that half an hour. But then in a special setup or in a diverse setup, okay, where there are diverse people there, you will have different behaviors. Okay. And more than that, even this particular child, one child, will behave differently at different points in time. These two things you have to remember. One is, if you have a group of 4 or 5 or 8 children, you will have 8 kinds of behavior happening. Okay. And even in that one child whom you expected would sit and listen to you in your session last time is not listening to you today, or is in fact creating a tantrum. We don't know, right? So if that is the case, what is it that we need to keep in mind and understand to make our session more comfortable? Okay. That is, you have to know that this behavior is not a standalone. It is influenced by what we call the A and the C. This is a B behavior. Okay. It is influenced by the A and the C. Okay. And the A stands for something called the antecedent. That is that which comes before the behavior. Antecedent. It comes before. Okay. So it's a antecedent, it's a precedent to the behavior, to this thing. That is the trigger, basically. The trigger to the behavior. Okay. What is the trigger to the behavior? Like, for example, if we have, this is the standard example which we always discuss, is if having a cup of coffee for all of us, which reminds me that I need my coffee. Just 1 second. Perfect example, Patya. So my behavior is going, now I'm going to have coffee. Okay. Now, what was the trigger? What was my antecedent? What could have been my antecedent? Just imagine, you have to pay attention to that with your students. What could have been my antecedent?
Probably because you were hungry.
Not hungry. Yes, correct. Almost. I was not hungry, but I was thirsty.
Thirsty.
Okay, I was thirsty. Yeah. Okay. Yes, I felt a little need for something warm too. That was my trigger. That was my antecedent. Okay. My behavior was, I went and got my coffee and I'm going to have my coffee. Okay. Why do I do this every time? Why is my behavior of drinking coffee, why does my behavior of drinking coffee happen? Because of the C. C is something that has happened earlier. Okay. That is, it is a consequence of success. I know, my mind knows that if I drink warm coffee, my throat will feel more comfortable. So it is called the consequence. So there is the antecedent, there is the behavior, and there is a consequence. If the consequence has been good, then the behavior becomes continuous and sustained. If you want to elicit good behavior, or what we call needed behavior, not good, needed for that particular moment or needed for that role from the students every time, you have to give them a good consequence of success. If the consequence of success is not good, the behavior will not happen. If I had not felt good after having my previous cup of coffee, in my experience, even one time before, then I will, once bitten, twice shy. I will not take that. Okay. So remember the consequence of success. Now, for example, this is my antecedent. This is my consequence of success. So this behavior happens. But this again changes in different settings. Okay. Different setting conditions. That is an additional thing. So A, B, C, and there's one S, which influences behavior from in front. Okay. That is called the setting condition. Here, what was my setting condition? I'm at home, I'm taking the class, and I'm comfortable enough to go out and get a cup of coffee. Sometimes it won't be possible. If my setting condition does not permit it, okay, I cannot execute this behavior itself. This behavior itself will be absent from that scene of TAHD, from that scene of theater, from that scene of life. Because I don't have an option. Even if my throat is sore or even if my throat is tired, and I don't have the comfort of going out and getting a cup of coffee at that point of time, every teacher has to think of something else. Because 45 minutes, he can't go out. 45 minutes or 50 minutes, he can't go out to take the coffee. So what does he do? What is his behavior? In his bag, he keeps a small bottle of water. That's his behavior. Slightly different, no? Everything like a what do you call domino effect, every behavior will have its influence. In the morning, you would have had to take that fill that bottle of water and put it in your bag in order that you meet this demand. It's so complex. But we take life very, very much for granted. We think it's very simple and we expect from everybody and everything so much. And ourselves too. Forget everybody else. Ourselves too. So relax. There are too many things happening. We'll take each one as it comes. Remember that. Okay, so there is a setting condition. So let us look at an example of a child who has to tell or do a painting. The behavior has to be, or he has to tell a poem or whatever it is. That is the child's requirement. That's the behavior requirement for that particular moment. Okay. So what will be the trick if he has to tell that story? He had to tell the story to you, that poem to you, in the classroom. The setting is the classroom. Okay. The setting is the classroom. The setting also includes his class friends and his class teacher. We're just discussing an example. There are millions of examples. All of you will have to give me examples in the next class. I'm going to get the others also who are absent also to send videos of their recording. I'll share it with you. If you only both of you are going to attend my next class also, then what to do? At least Akshay's video and somebody else's video, now we'll put it. Okay, describing a situation like this. I'm giving you an example. You can think of 3 or 4 situations. So this child has to, the behavior with correct or the role requirement behavior is telling the poem in the classroom. Okay. Role requirement behavior, telling the poem in the classroom, in the presence of, you're adding now, in the presence of his class teacher and some friends. Classmates, whoever are present that day. Okay. Now, if that behavior has to be correct, what should be the trigger?
He should be initially trained well, taught the meaning of the poem.
Very good. So there has to be the trigger, the previous moment has to have been a moment of knowledge already if he has to communicate that. So that should already be there in him. But there is a current trigger that is well prepared as before, but there's a current trigger at that point of time. What is that current trigger?
He would be rewarded some marks.
That comes later. That's a consequence.
Oh, okay.
That's the consequence. What is the trigger? Simple trigger. The teacher asks him to tell the poem.
Oh.
He will not sit and suddenly if he starts telling the poem, out of turn, ஏதோ ஒன்னு சொல்ல ஆரம்பிச்சதுன்னா என்ன பண்ண முடியும்? கேட்டா தானே சொல்லணும். தானே சொல்ல ஆரம்பிச்சுட்டேன்னா that's not right behavior. No, we want to reward that. You say, hey, shut up, yeah, now sit down. Right? And you don't know sensitive child, he may not say it at all after that. போச்சு அவ்வளவுதான் முடிஞ்சு போச்சு கதை. So even that has to be prepared. The children have to be prepared. You have to tell the children, look, I'll be calling you one by one. Nobody is going to tell the poem out of turn. When I call, I will be calling everybody's names. I don't know whether I will be covering all that in this. See, இவ்ளோ சென்சிட்டிவா யாருமே கிளாஸ் எடுக்கிறது கிடையாதுமா. எடுத்தாக்க நல்ல உலகம் கிடைக்கும் நமக்கு. ஓகேவா? So prepare the children, prepare their minds. I'll be calling everyone not to worry. Don't feel bad. Don't feel worried that you're not. If in case we're not able to finish in this class, and she's laughing. Where's the time to tell all this in the classroom? We have to rush, finish the syllabus. Rush, finish the syllabus. Rush, finish the syllabus. That's why I'm saying TAHD has to replace every learning system. You will get a world, but see, the only thing is that you will get a Subramanya Swami panna padaipu madri aidum. A euphoric world. Too ideal for anybody's good. So you have to have that aspect also. Okay. Now, if you see, the point is that if the teacher wants to get good students, this is what she has to do. She has to mentally prepare the students. So that the trigger is just the teacher saying, yes, Pavitra, tell your point. That's the trigger. Okay. Till then, there can be no trigger inside her to come and simply start saying the poem. Okay. Not possible. Okay. So the trigger is she's told to tell the poem. She tells the poem. And why does she tell the poem? Because there is a C. What is the C?
That could be she's going to get some marks or some.
She is hoping for a good consequence. So there is always the hope for the good consequence. Supposing consistently she is rebuked for the bad narration, most probably she will never flower in poetry narration. This the teachers have to remember. The facilitators have to remember. Okay. And then again, okay, I have seen that the consequence of success has to happen immediately. The reward has to be given immediately. I'll be talking about rewards in the next class. Okay. So rewards have to be given immediately. Otherwise, what will happen is the children are lost in a kind of a question mark. Did the teacher like what I said? Was it good? Was it not good? Because there was no comment. என்ன சொன்னா டீச்சர் நம்ம கேட்டோம்னாக்கா ஒன்னும் சொல்லலையா? Okay, immediately our doubt also starts. நீ சரியா சொன்னியா? Our doubt becomes self-doubt for the child. போச்சு முடிஞ்சுது கதை. Right? நீ சரியா சொன்னியா? நமக்கு டவுட் வந்து என்னன்னா நேச்சுரலி டீச்சர் தான் சொல்லிருக்கணும், குட் சொல்லிருக்கணும், இல்லைனாக்கா ஓகே சொல்லிருக்கணும், இல்லைன்னா உட்கார்ந்து இல்ல 10 பேருக்கு குட் சொல்லிட்டு உனக்கு மாத்திரம் சொல்லல எதுக்காகன்னு தோணும். So many things, our own complexities, our own problems, which we transfer to the children, our own and the ones whom we teach, everybody. Right? So and the doubt vandrum. So that has to be immediate. So very good. Very good, Pavitra. You did well. You made a mistake in 2 places. Go sit down. போறோம் ரொம்ப ஆஹா ஊலாம் பண்ண வேண்டாம். சும்மா சிம்பிள் அவ்வளவுதான். சிம்பிளா பண்ணிட்டு முடிச்சுட்டு அவளுடைய கான்சிக்வன்ஸ் அடுத்த வாட்டி அவ எழுந்து சொல்ற மாதிரி பண்ணணும். அதே பெயிண்டிங் வந்து இந்த பெயிண்டிங் நல்லாவே இல்லையே, யார் சொல்லி கொடுத்தா உனக்கு? இன்னும் ஒரு ஷேப் கூட கரெக்டா இல்லையே அப்படி தூக்கி போட்டாக்கா அடுத்த ஆர்ட் டீச்சர் கிட்ட அந்த பக்கம் போவே மாட்டான். Okay. It's good, but then little correction here, little correction there. You'll do well. Okay, so that is the consequence that you need to give the child. The consequence has to, if you want that behavior again, if you don't want that behavior again, you can try a negative consequence. Okay, supposing there is negative behavior happening, he's not telling the child at all, he's not telling the poem at all. Come on, Pavitra, tell the story, tell the poem. He's not telling. Then you say, see, you will not be given any opportunities if you don't tell. You'll have to try. Okay, I'll call you last again so that you can hear the others telling the poem, and then you will have it in your head a little better. That time you come and try. Go and sit down. Avlo sensitive class nadakano. if you want a set of good students. கேட்டு போனா எப்படி நம்ம சிலபஸ் முடிச்சா போறோம். அப்படிதான் வழி இப்பெல்லாம் என்ன பண்ண முடியும்? அவ்வளோ தீனின்னு திரிச்சாக்கா என்ன பண்ண? So this is A, B, C. Now, the setting condition here is the school. Okay. Now the same thing, same Pavitra. The same Pavitra telling the poem in a different setting condition. She comes home. She made a few mistakes. She was corrected in the school. And she comes and tells her party at home. No mistakes. Why? Tell me why. One of you tell me why.
Probably she was, she might have had a previous experience where she was well praised or loved by party or hugged by party. Oh, chamattu.
Exactly. Another option, Aarti?
Probably her confidence level is higher. She knows that she'll not be judged by her party.
Exactly. So she's got a good reward and she is not judged. More, what can we ask for? That's why the behavior becomes 100% better. So much better. Okay. No mistakes. She's not going to be judged for everything. Party doesn't know also. That is different. Whether she's made mistakes or not. But I have noticed that there will be no mistakes. Tadamaradu. Confident as full. For sure. That's what will happen. So you know that. So this is the background. Okay. Setting condition changes. So this child you are dealing with has told the poem very well to you. Okay. But next stage he's got to go. He's been selected for the finals. He may not do so well. How come this boy, he's so well he spoke? Why did he fail in the finals? He should have got it, no? New setting. That can throw people. That can throw children. The new setting. Onnumilla, we have practice for Asade. What do? We have practice in the school initially. Then we have a practice in a big hall. It's more space for everybody to join. And then we actually have practice in the Nardhanar Sabha hall where they have to finally perform. Because the change of setting can throw the children. And even adults, even we all have to do that. We have to know which is the entry, which is the wing, which is the thing. Setting is changed. The entire thing has changed. And suddenly, like in Madurai, what happened? Different dialogue coming, different thing. How do you cope? Right? So the setting, how much of an importance is the trigger? How much importance it is? The consequence, how much important it is, and how it influences behavior is a very, 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 very major thing which you have to constantly keep in mind if you want good results from yourself and from the people you're working with. So this is the ABC of teaching. Then we go on to task by task teaching. Okay. Now, task by task teaching is, if we all do that, but then we don't analyze it this way. Every task has got several minute steps to its completion. Okay. Every task, anything you do. Okay. Let us say you have to teach a child to make, like most commonly used example. Okay. What we teach the children is without fire cooking, making salads, making juices. Initially, no, but knife is used. But then, at least, okay, fire is not without fire cooking. First, we start with that. Let's say to make the child independent. Okay, so without fire cooking, he has to make lime juice. So, Uma, tell me the stages of making a lime juice. What we call the task analysis.
Do I assume that things like sugar, salt, lemon is there? Or
No,
do I?
You give me the broad list. Then we have to break down everything. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
The broad list is that everything is available, let us say.
Okay. I assemble all the needed raw materials, glass, a spoon or a ladle, a bowl maybe, sugar, salt, water, a lime. If required, a strainer. Okay. Then a knife.
Nice.
Then I cut the
Where?
a kitchen or
Not
a
in the
platform.
bedroom.
Yeah.
Have you
Yeah.
seen
True.
Yeah.
Yes. Maybe a dining table, or most preferred place, the kitchen platform. Yes. I assemble all these together at the place, and then I cut the lime. I take out the juice in a vessel, maybe add the required sugar, salt, water, and then mix them together. Use a strainer if required.
Had the glasses ready?
Yes. Then I pour them into glass.
The lime juice is
Okay.
ready. Okay. Now Aarti. Okay. So because we said let's look at the broad category. She's given the broad categories. Now, if we break down each of these, okay, let's not break down each of these. Let's just break down straining any one part. Okay, straining the finished juice. Okay, straining the finished juice. What is involved in that? Analyze that.
So, first of all, the things have to be available, and the child should be able to hold the strainer properly so that the juice falls into the glass. Or probably another option we can suggest is take another big bowl and strain it into the bowl and then pour it into the glasses instead of directly straining it. There should be probably a cloth around to wipe if it occurs.
Very good. Now, supposing now we've all assumed that all these ingredients are understood in the comprehension zone of the child. Okay, what if they don't know what a glass is? Then that also has to be broken down. Right? He has to be able to, it's very difficult actually, to pick up the right glass and come from among 4 different kinds of glasses. It can be very challenging. This weekend for 16 to 25-year-old group, this weekend, the task was just to know what are the weekend homework for the students, was just to count the number of glasses, different types in the house, and number of spoons, tablespoon and teaspoon. So difficult. You get me even mommy idilla mommy the green நான் சொன்னேனே நான் அது கொடுத்துட்டேன் wrong கொண்டு வைப்பா. Okay, வெள்ளை கப் சொன்னேனே ஆமா இதுலயும் வெள்ளை இருக்கு ஒண்ணும் இல்ல. You won't believe it, my maid, I told him that MRF போட்டு பேட் இருக்கு. ஓகே, அதை கொண்டு வரணும். கீழே இறங்கிட்டு திருவண்ணாமலைக்கு போட்டுக்கு விராஜோடைய பேட் MRF போட்ட பேட் என் ரூம்ல இருக்கு, போய் கொண்டு வா. She heard it as bag, not bat on the phone. I said, so we had already left, so we came back to pick it up and then go, and so we were already delayed. So she heard it as bag. So she searched the whole room, okay, for a bag which had MRF written. Okay, so she found my MRI scan. Okay, she said, ma, MR correct irukku, F and she brought that bag down. She searched my whole room and was tongifying at the old MRI scan. Okay, அதை பிடிச்சு கொண்டு வந்துட்டா. So we cannot say, how our instructions have to be so sharp, how much confusion can come. Okay, so everything has got so much of a task analysis. So what I'll do, because I have to leave now in 5 minutes, what I'll do is I'll give you an assignment to do the task analysis, breakup of tasks. I'll put it in the group so that you all can come back with the breakdown of that. And, with some subdivisions. We can never break it down so much that, we have, because we always come from a point of knowledge. We already know So it's very difficult for us to think of, oh, idhuliyum avlo parts irukanu. Okay. Okay. But we will try to do that. Okay. And then there is this, so there is a task by task series. So there are two ways of training. I'll finish that and then I'll close. So when you're training a special child, training anybody actually, even your own grandson or daughter or whatever it is, when you're training, there are two ways of training. One is called forward training and one is called backward training. Now, both have its advantages and disadvantages. Okay. Now, forward training is when you start teaching them from step 1 and go to step 10. That is a 10-step learning. Okay. Backward training is when you do 9 steps and make them do that last training step. That's training of the juice. You've done 9 steps. You train them to first strain. Then you teach them the step before that of taking the patra. So what happens is, in backward training, wherever it can be applied, there is a sense of completion for the child. He finishes doing the task. You may have done even 25 steps, but when he does the 26th, the sense of completion is very high. He gets the sense of fulfilling the whole task. Whereas if you do the first step with him and then do all the rest, he doesn't get the same satisfaction as in a training where he completes. So we employ the backward training wherever possible and where it can be done. Sometimes it can't be. Okay. So depending on that, like for example, when you're teaching buttoning, okay, when you're teaching buttoning, you make the child wear the shirt and just make him do the buttons. Hey, I wore the shirt myself. Okay, only the buttoning part. So then after that, because this is a complicated thing, all that is very, very complicated in shirt wearing. Right? Whereas the buttoning is so that feel comes. Okay, so the sense of completion. So you set the table. I make Virat set the table in Tiruvannamalai. Okay, so he sets the table. So why does he? If he sets the table, then he's done all the work. Okay, so it's like okay, you only have to eat after that. Okay. Who's bothered about the cooking part? Okay, so that's how it goes. Okay, so we have discussed the ABC of teaching and the influence of the setting conditions on behavior. Okay, and how the setting condition there is people, place, material. These are influencers on setting conditions that you can take down. People, place, material. So they perform very well with one person. They may not perform very well with another person. The people. Place, they may perform very well in school, but when they go to the Nardagana Sabha, their performance may not be as good. Or it may be reverse also. இங்க வந்து டல் அடிச்சுட்டு இருக்கும், அங்க மேடையில அந்த ஆடியன்ஸை பார்த்த உடனே ரொம்ப பிரமாதமா பண்ணலாம், சொல்ல முடியாது. It works both ways. Okay, so that is the setting the influence of place, and the third is influence of material. Like there'll be very neat handwriting with one pencil, there'll be not so neat handwriting with another pencil or a pen. Okay, the moment the material changes, the output will change. Okay, the costume is uncomfortable, the dance is not so good. Simple. The material, it has nothing to do with the person or the place, but it has to do with the externals that are influencing that behavior. So that is
like Antara still says, I'm much comfortable in the chudidar than in the Bharatanatyam costume.
Exactly, 100% is true, but it looks very pretty costume. And they will get tired, So I would 100% love to go and dance in a salwar kameez, but then it's not possible. Okay, so these are the things. So you have assimilated whatever we've discussed now. And next class, I will finish this. Whenever I meet you, I'll finish the how of teaching, the teaching methodology. You've done already how, as far as tools and making of lesson plans, all that is done. Now we are assimilating how it gets transferred into the classroom setting. Okay. So with that, we will conclude for today. Oh. So by God's grace, the Raghuraman Bridge Academy has made it little flexible. He said you can take a few more months for this, because I discussed with him and saying, we could not complete all the lessons because of so many various countries, people were not available, all that. He said we can take a little more time, and to let him know, take a couple of months more to complete the course, so that the output becomes good among all the students. So that blessing was there. Otherwise, we were wondering how to finish by December. It's difficult. December 16th was supposed to be the original